Trinidad and Tobago Tour News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister calls on citizens to pray, work and aspire to achieve greatness as a nation. Cabinet approves the observance of a National Year of Patriotism. And San Fernando recognizes 50 of its citizens who have made sterling contributions to the city. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissesseh is calling on citizens to pray, work and aspire to achieve greatness as a nation. She was addressing the crowd gathered at the Atto Bolden Stadium in Couva during the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving, which was also attended by His Excellency, the President, Professor George Maxwell Richards, and several cabinet members.
A solemn request for prayers being made by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissesseh for former Prime Minister Patrick Manning, who recently fell ill. Mrs. Persad-Bissesseh says Mr. Manning was of great service to the people and country and wished him a speedy recovery. Also in her prayer request list were former President Arthur N.R. Robinson and Justice Wendell Kangaloo, who are also said to be unwell at this time.
I would like you and ask of you all to pray for former Prime Minister and President Arthur Robinson, former Prime Minister Patrick Manning, and Justice Wendell Kangaloo, each of whom remain unwell at this time. We pray for their strength and their recovery. They have all served their nation well.
The Prime Minister is calling on parents to play their role in instilling the proper values in their children. She notes that this will play a pivotal role in taking the nation forward over the next 50 years and beyond.
There can be no great nation without great people, no great accomplishment without great purpose, and no greatness at all without the greatest of humility. And we have a responsibility to pass on these values to our children, to sow the seeds of these values which will enrich their lives and ensure the development of our society over the next 50 years and beyond. As the saying goes, if you plan for 1 year, you plant rice. If you plan for 10 years, plant trees. But if you plan for 100 years, then educate your children.
With just mere days to go before the mass celebrations on this country's 50th Independence Day anniversary, the Prime Minister is reflecting on the great strides the country has made into achieving its great success. She says the past 50 years of independence have seen the nation attain remarkable achievement in many spheres.
In the arts, in culture, in sports, in music, in science. And today is an appropriate time to pause, reflect, and give praise and thanks for the abundant blessings we have had over the past 50 years as a nation. In all things, with God's mercy, we have triumphed. Much of our celebration as a nation at 50 has been dedicated to honor our past and how yesterday's action created today's greatness.
Vuna Bharat, News 4.
Meanwhile, big dreams come from the fertile imaginations of liberated minds. This from Planning and Sustainable Development Minister, Senator Dr. the Honorable Bo Tewari, who urged citizens to make a commitment to work towards securing the nation's future. He too was speaking at the Atto Bolden Stadium in Couva during the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving.
The people, all our citizens, must be prepared to work hard for it, to work smart for it, and to work together to make it happen. Let us together, therefore, make a commitment to build and strengthen our nation and to work together to achieve higher heights as responsible and productive citizens, as one people with the richness of many strands for a common purpose and with an eye to leaving a legacy of lasting prosperity.
Planning Minister Senator Dr. the Honorable Bo Tewari offering words of advice to the nation on the occasion of the country's 50th independence anniversary. Meanwhile, the minister is also urging persons to work together today in building the nation and preparing it for a sustainable future.
We need to have a longer view, and we need to constantly remind ourselves to appreciate that each generation must build on the gains of the past, act on its own behalf in the present in order to advance and to leap forward. But each generation must also manage its resources and leverage its talent and capacities in order to leave a lasting inheritance that inspires other generations to design and create greater and more sustainable advances and more fulsome inheritances for new generations to come.
While reflecting on the events leading up to the country's 50th independence anniversary, Dr. Tiwari says the various activities held to commemorate the Golden Jubilee were necessary in creating a sense of pride and unity. He is also applauding the IRO and the coming together of the various religious groups in society for a common purpose of prayer.
We have spent this year of celebration, several months into the year from April the 2nd, trying to bring before the eyes and presence of the country the culture and the cultural diversity, a sense of community, the significance of the unifying power of sport, and the power of citizen participation in the things that we do.
Meanwhile, also speaking at the event was Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, the Honorable Clifton Dikoto, who says prayer and thanksgiving, which are instructed by Almighty God, are both highlighted as key factors which lead to great success.
We have been united in our purpose today, to come together in prayer and thanksgiving, to say we acknowledge our accomplishments and our shortcomings for the past 50 years of independence, and we look forward to a future of sustainable development. My sisters and brothers, together we can do it. Together we certainly would be able to achieve it. The New Testament of the Holy Bible proclaims in Psalm 107, verse 1, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is the good. His love endures forever." The Old Testament teaches in Colossians chapter 4, verse 2, "Continue praying, keeping alert and always thanking God."
The coming together, he says, assists greatly in creating a sense of unity in the midst of diversity.
Today, in the eyes of our Creator, under our affirmative belief in prayer and praise, we are one. One people with a desire to heal our nation. One people with one vision in peace, love, and understanding. Gorbachev once said, and I quote, "Peace is not unity in similarity, but unity in diversity."
Vuna Bharath, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
There's a spark of greatness in each of us. That spark is called personality. Individual gifts and talents provide the fuel to set that spark ablaze. Each child has the right to an education which values their personality and nurtures their talents, while teaching them to be respectful to their parents and their cultures.
We are reporting from communities across the country. People are calling Nalis Libraries their library. Tell me, why is Nalis your library?
My library is where I can have fun learning.
My library is helping me earn better grades with online research resources.
My library is my gateway to the world of information.
My library is providing access to the differently able. As a visually impaired person, I can envision limitless possibilities.
My library is making my world truly worldwide with free internet access.
My library is helping me keep an eye on my health with access to the virtual health library via the Nalis website.
Nalis is my library.
Welcome back. Cabinet has approved the observance of a National Year of Patriotism, which is to be celebrated from Independence Day, August 31st, 2012 to August 31st, 2013. There are also other activities that will coincide with the country's celebration of independence and Republic Day. This was all revealed by Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, the Honorable Clifton Dikoto, at the media launch for National Patriotism Month.
The Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration is committed to its universal objective of embracing the richness and beauty of our people's great diversity in order to nurture a more humane and inclusive society. Promoting such cause paves the way for an approved National Year of Patriotism. Minister Dikoto says initiatives for such year would entail short, medium, and long-term projects, which are all related to the development of a stronger sense of nationhood.
To ensure that the projects are effectively implemented, Cabinet also approved an intersectorial committee to oversee the implementation and composition as follows: the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration, Chair; the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration, Secretary; Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development; Ministry of Arts and Multiculturalism; Ministry of Education; Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development; Ministry of Community Development; Ministry of Tourism; Ministry of Local Government; Ministry of the People and Social Development; Ministry of National Security; Ministry of Tobago Development; Ministry of Sport; Ministry of Communication; Tobago House of Assembly; the Interreligious Organization; Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce; the Media Association of Trinidad and Tobago, NALIS; the Scouting and Girl Guides Association, the University of the West Indies, the National Parent Teachers Association, Rotaract Trinidad, and a representative of the Civil Society Board, soon to be established.
The minister says an interministerial team will be created to come up with a strategic plan to help point the way forward. The National Month of Patriotism will mark the commencement of the Year of Patriotism.
The National Month of Patriotism will be celebrated each year commencing in 2012. This morning, we will launch the month with the following items: promotion of the Flag in Every Home project, launch of the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration logo and Facebook page, and viewing of a clip promoting the spirit of patriotism, courtesy the Ministry of National Diversity and Social Integration.
The ministry expects that as various activities of the month are rolled out, both the private sector and the NGO sector would come on board with their own initiatives to mark the month of work with the various ministries.
Citizens are urged to go even further to decorate their home in the national colors to increase a sense of patriotism within the home and the community in tribute to the representation of our vitality, purity, and unity as a people. I am pleased to announce that to date, a total of 13,000 flags have been distributed across the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. And for this entire week leading up to the 50th anniversary of our independence, and indeed for the entire year of patriotism, citizens are encouraged to keep the flag flying high with pride.
Minister Dikoto adds that with these initiatives, a more patriotic Trinidad and Tobago will be formed out of the emblems, increased awareness and appreciation, national productivity, a greater cohesion and cooperation among citizenry. Joseph Lopez, News 4.
Deputy Speaker of the House, the Honorable Neela Khan, has been recognized as the first female Muslim Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. The recognition was given to her by the National Muslim Women's Organization of Trinidad and Tobago.
The National Muslim Women's Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, the Network of NGOs for the Advancement of Women, and the National Cultural Promotions of Trinidad and Tobago held an evening to honor Islam and its culture. The event, titled An Evening of Qasida and Qawwali, was held recently at the National Academy for the Performing Arts. Qasida is a form of lyric poetry in which every line rhymes. It originated in pre-Islamic Arabia and is sang in praise, love, and honor of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Thanking the event organizers for the recognition which was heaped upon her, Deputy Speaker Neela Khan says she takes her role as a parliamentarian seriously. She believes that humility is one of the qualities that got her to where she is today and promises to continue serving everyone who assisted along the way.
The role of a member of parliament is a very serious and, of course, a very humble one. It is the people of my constituency of Princestown who first saw the qualities that would effectively represent their needs in Parliament. I look forward to representing not only my constituents, but also my brothers and sisters in the faith as I continue in my parliamentary career.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
When we come back, the city of San Fernando dons its red, white, and black. Stay with us.
Honoring and respecting the elderly begins with you and me. And in the event of a disaster, your support before, during, and after will be critical to their well-being. Build a support team where each member will have a specific task. Your team must include someone who is within easy reach of the elderly person. Make an evacuation plan and practice your plan. Stock up on special caregiving items such as incontinence items, cleaning and sanitizing supplies. Have on hand a minimum of 2 weeks supply of all essential medications. In the event of a disaster, accessing medication may become difficult. Keep testing and insulin supplies that do not require refrigeration for diabetics. Secure all medical supplies in a clean, waterproof, easy-to-carry container. Keep a list of medication, caregiving instruction, doctors' names, and contact information. In case an elderly person is relocated to a shelter, this information is vital to their continued care. Dehydration is a serious health problem for older adults. Store at least 1 gallon per person per day. Store at least 3 days' worth. Consider special dietary needs when stocking up on food supplies. Safeguard important documents and provide an ID bracelet or necklace to persons with special needs, such as persons with Alzheimer's disease. Remember, disaster readiness and preparedness begins with you and me.
A message from the Ministry of National Security, Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management.
The city of San Fernando donned its red, white, and black ahead of Independence Day celebrations. And in recognition of the 50-year milestone, the city chose to recognize 50 of its citizens who have made sterling contributions to the city and the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. In honoring each outstanding citizen, San Fernando Mayor Dr. Navi Muradali said this was proof of the excellence Trinidad and Tobago was capable of producing.
The city of San Fernando honored 50 of some of its most outstanding citizens in recognition of their dedicated service to not only city, but the country as well. The award ceremony came as celebrations were put on by the San Fernando City Corporation at the San Fernando National Academy for Performing Arts Center as part of its Independence Cultural Village. San Fernando Mayor Dr. Navi Muradali says the event was chosen in light of celebrating the numerous milestones achieved as a nation.
We want to wish all of you a happy independence. We are 50 years old as an independent nation, and while we have a lot to learn, we have accomplished a lot as a small nation.
San Fernando West MP and Public Administration Minister Carolyn Sipasad Bechan says the city of San Fernando has produced dynamic citizens who have impacted the development of Trinidad and Tobago.
When I say this great city, it is a unique city, different from any other city in Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, we could teach other cities of Trinidad and Tobago about San Fernando. I really want to recognize, I saw some of them here this evening as I came in, and I know there are many, but I saw Dr. Ramesh Mutu and Dr. Austin Trinidad. These are the gentlemen and others like him and other women as well, who we will be honoring as they have made their contribution to the development of San Fernando over the last 50 years.
One of the outstanding citizens honored at the night's proceedings was artist and writer Willie Chen, who expressed his feelings of deep pride in receiving the honor.
I humbly accepted it, not knowing that I was going to an award, but I think, people just recognize what I've done, and they were kind enough to give it to me, and I feel very, very honored.
Justice Anthony Lucky, judge of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea and son of the city, was also recognized for his service. Upon accepting the award, Justice Lucky spoke of the number of local judges who continue to represent Trinidad and Tobago at international level, even as TNT turns 50 as an independent nation.
It's an honor and privilege as a San Fernandian and someone who grew up not too far from here in Skinner Park. I grew up at the corner of Prince of Wales and Coffee Street, and San Fernando is dear to me, and therefore I feel extremely happy, not only for myself, but for my family who grew up here. And I spoke up with my wife and my 4 daughters, and of course, the community of San Fernando. So my roots, my bucket has been let down here, and it will never move.
Former Deputy Mayor of San Fernando and recipient of an award for distinguished service to the city, Dr. Alan Sami, took the opportunity to look back at where the city had come to where it was going along the road towards development.
I feel very honored, actually, and I mean, I'm among some people who are really stalwarts. I'm humbled by it, and I feel good about it.
Others honored were Dr. Austin Trinidad, medical practitioner, together with this country's first Olympians Rodney Welks and Hazley Crawford, who all hail from the Southland. But the evening was an occasion for the young and the young at heart, as the cultural village provided much entertainment to the delight of many.
Everything must change, but when it changed, tell me why they keep acting strange.
Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
Never leave items like MP3 players, portable DVD players, laptops, and briefcases on view inside your vehicle. It is an open invitation for a thief. Don't leave them on show. If you cannot take them with you, place them in the trunk of your car. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Trinidad and Tobago and its people can boast of many achievements of which we should be proud. These are the words of Minister of Local Government and MP for Tabaquite, the Honorable Surajratan Rambachan.
The town of Tabaquite is celebrating this country's 50th anniversary of independence with an awards ceremony. This ceremony, held at the Gasparilla Secondary School, rewarded persons for their distinguished contributions to the community in various fields. Persons were honored for their contributions to culture, business, community service, agriculture, education, religion, and sports, just to name a few. Addressing those gathered, Minister Rambachan says independence signaled us becoming masters of our own destiny. He adds that what we have made our nation into, the destiny we have since created, all have been shaped by decisions and actions we took as a nation and a people. Decisions which he says we should be proud of.
How well have we shaped that destiny? How well have we done as a nation after 50 years? I want to tell you that I am very proud of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to tell you that I think that we have done very well as a nation in Trinidad and Tobago. I think that we must be very proud of ourselves. We have done proud Trinidad and Tobago, and we are happy with Trinidad and Tobago, and we are happy what our ancestors have helped us achieve in this country.
Minister Rambachan emphasizes that Trinidadians and Tobagonians can boast of many things, from our constitutional setup to our achievements in sport and even our levels of attainable education, which he reminds persons is still free.
We can boast of the separation of powers between the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary in consonance with our constitution. We are a country, perhaps one of the few countries in the world, who have used the wealth of this country to provide free tertiary education to our students so that our students can become the best that they are capable of becoming. We have excelled in sports. Whether it was Wendell Motley and the 4x400 team that ran in the silver medal in the 1960s, or whether it was Hazley Crawford in Montreal in 1976, whether it was Roger Gibbon at the Pan American Games, or whether it was Brian Lara with 501 not out and having scored 375 and that was broken, come back to score 400. We know what it is to be great sportsmen and sportswomen in Trinidad and Tobago, and now a 19-year-old has gone to the Olympics, a mere teenager, and made Trinidad and Tobago proud by earning a gold medal in the field of javelin throwing. Let's celebrate that with a round of applause.
Gregory McBurney, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited and the Ministry of Communications. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you so much for joining us.